Good morning and welcome to our webinar. I see people are still joining us, so I'm going to give them another minute or two, then we'll get started. All right, so this is our webinar on BIM for building product manufacturers, but anyone, of course, is likely to listen and to learn. That's fine. My name is Phil Marshall, and this webinar is one of a series offered by MicroCAD on the use of Autodesk tools and its data platform to enable manufacturers to collaborate with architects, builders, and other partners in the building project. Our next webinar will be August 28th, when we look at the technical details of sharing data. As a company, MicroCAD empowers design professionals in the construction and manufacturing industries to increase productivity and meet project goals. With 30 years of experience as a minority-owned business, we pride ourselves on working with clients through every stage of the design process to assess needs and provide tailored and effective solutions. Today, we're focusing on the functionality of workflow supporting design collaboration. Design collaboration where multiple people can participate in the design process and share information synchronously. This is clearly where the biggest benefits of BIM are. Autodesk has taken this concept and put it on the cloud. This webinar is intended to give you an understanding of how building product manufacturers can share data with architects. We will show 3 different workflows for different situations and illustrate how the Autodesk tools are used. The Autodesk product highlighted here is Inventor, full function CAD/CAM system for product design and manufacturing. We will show the interoperability with Revit, an architectural BIM modeling system. As we go through the webinar, you may have questions or comments. Feel free to enter them into the questions area of the interface on the right-hand side. If you don't see the control panel, click on the orange arrow. I'll try to respond as I see the questions. One other point, the excitement of BIM extends to all the partners in the building project. This webinar focuses on the manufacturers, but everyone benefits. We will offer other BIM 360 webinars in the future and expand them to cover all the potential users. The intended audience for this webinar is the building product manufacturers. That's you. This applies to vertical and horizontal construction endeavors, architectural, civil, plant engineering. We know that projects are getting more complicated and the use of modular design is increasing. More and more building products are made in a factory environment and not at the job site. So what does this mean for you? The architect may have one idea of what, say, a railing system should look like for his building. He would then search catalogs for a matching railing. If there is a close match but not exact, the architect defines his unique requirements and loads that into his BIM model. The manufacturer of the railing system will consider the architect's unique requirements and cost out custom products. They would then have to plan the manufacturing process and raw materials for that product. They may add information to the BIM model reflecting their process. When the finished railing gets to the job site, the construction workers need to install it using the information from both the architect and the manufacturer. Where do they get that data? The BIM model. And each uses a different tool. The architect probably uses Revit. The manufacturer uses some mechanical design software like SolidWorks, CATIA, Creo, or Autodesk's own Inventor. And the contractor just wants to look at the model and the drawings. In the past, paper drawings were used to exchange this data, but this is a slow, incomplete, and error-prone method. With BIM, all partners can use 3D intelligent models, but we have to provide interoperability amongst all the players. What we're talking about today is how the manufacturer can easily make the data from the architect's BIM model available to their internal CAD/CAM systems, and just as importantly, handle the inevitable changes. Let's look at an example. Here, the architect working in Revit has a design for a building. He wants to add balconies for the doors on the second and third floor. He brings into his BIM model a balcony component, perhaps downloaded from the manufacturer. Then he edits it to his particular building, making it 2 instead of 3 balconies and aligning it to the doors. The manufacturer working in Inventor would see the architect's changes and applies them to the product assembly. Notice that the manufacturer's model is much more detailed than the architect's. This is because the manufacturer has to have everything needed to make the product, while the architect only needs the parts for visualization. The manufacturer may make some further changes, maybe because of an engineering calculation or to reduce costs. The manufacturing model is simplified and passed back to Revit as a Revit family for the architect to review. This bi-directional flow of data could continue in design iterations until both partners are satisfied with the design. So what kind of building products are we talking about here? It's a large number of things like stairs, escalators, elevators, conveyors, windows, doors, window systems, concrete precast and pre-stressed items, metal or wood frame wall panels, curtain wall systems, wall cladding, both interior and exterior, sunshades, and so on and on. More and more of the final building is fabricated off-site and delivered as a module. And each of these products have the same data sharing requirements. Okay, so how can you actually share the data? There are 3 potential workflows depending on the type of products you make. 1, if you are making standard products, taking advantage of manufacturing efficiencies of scale, then you would publish a catalog and have the architect select products from the catalog. Your design and manufacturing processes don't need any input from the architect. 2, if you are primarily making configurable products, that is, standard components that can be combined or altered in some way, then you need to work with the architects on the particular configuration they need. Starting from your standard assemblies, they may introduce minor design changes to meet the project requirements. This is a lot of back and forth data exchange. 3, if you're delivering custom products defined by the architect, then the source of the design is the architect, and your job is to determine the manufacturing process. Of course, a good architect would always be open to suggestions to improve the product or make it less expensive to manufacture. Therefore, some interaction and bidirectional data flow is necessary. So let's look at the catalog workflow. The standard component catalog workflow is the easiest workflow. The manufacturer designs the components in their favorite 3D mechanical CAD software. Of course, we think it's best that it's Inventor, but even if it isn't, Inventor can use associative links to other mechanical CAD systems. CAM output can come from this design either in the original CAD system or in Inventor. In Inventor, the model can be simplified because the architect doesn't need or want excessive detail, and defining parameters can be added. This is then output and published as a Revit family to make it easy for the architect to use. These Revit families can be included on an online catalog. Here, there isn't any data flow from the architect. It's solely from the manufacturer to the architect. The configurable products workflow is the most complex workflow. Here we repeat what we covered in the catalog workflow. The manufacturer designs the product and uses Inventor to publish a catalog in standard Revit families. With Inventor, that's easy. Inventor can link, but the architects get involved next. They take your designs and modify the requirements, either by changing your Revit families or creating their own. You have to incorporate their changes into the model. With Inventor, that's easy. Inventor can link the Revit model into the Inventor product design and let the designer work with the architect's geometry. Because it's an associative link, if the Revit model changes, the Inventor model changes also. And this is a closed loop. Your updated Inventor model can become a Revit family, which can update the family in the architect's BIM model. This way, everybody sees the most recent data. The custom products workflow is where the architect designs the product and you just have to figure out how to make it. Using Revit, the architect builds the geometry, perhaps making it a Revit family. The geometry is then linked into the Inventor model and further detailing can be done. As before, if there's a change in the Revit model, it will be changed in the Inventor model also. Within Inventor, manufacturing processes are decided and optimized. You have the option to modify the geometry provided by the architect to improve performance or reduce costs, and if so, these changes can go back to the architect using Revit families, usually of a simplified model, and we can iterate as necessary. Why have I been stressing Inventor? Because only Inventor provides out-of-the-box functionality that fits so well in the building product and fabrication workflows with BIM and Revit. Models built in Inventor can be transformed into Revit families for architectural use. The Inventor models can contain the intelligence to let those families be used by Revit's analysis tools. And these models can become part of the BIM model, usable by everyone in the project. Because Inventor can link associatively with Revit models, the geometry created by the architect can be part of the Inventor model, and it updates automatically when the architect updates the Revit model. The intelligent model can contain additional data for asset control and facilities management. Any design created in Inventor is usable by Revit. Typically, you would simplify the model because the architect doesn't need the same level of detail the manufacturer does, then parameterize the model to make it easy to use, and output a Revit family. An Inventor model can link to a Revit model. The product designer can then make sure that the product meets the form, fit, and function requirements set by the architect, and the product design can be echoed back to the architect as a Revit family for review and approval. Inventor fits in the BIM world because the manufacturer can build libraries of their components as Revit families and make them available to the architects for downloading. Let's look at another example.
Custom Fabricators like you want to provide additional value to your company and your customers by getting involved with building information modeling. In Inventor 2021, we've improved the interoperability between Revit and Inventor by maintaining an associative link to the inserted Revit data as you work. The Revit project can be accessed from a local file or coordinated via the cloud using Autodesk BIM360 Common Data Environment. On referencing a Revit file, custom views from the Revit project can be selected in Inventor, allowing you to filter the BIM to just the information you need. In the Inventor browser, the Revit model is organized by category, allowing you to further examine the structure of the model and filter the BIM to your requirements. Once placed into your Inventor assembly, the Revit project can be used as a reference model to help guide your design. Working with the native Revit project helps you locate your design using shared coordinates, size your design appropriately, and coordinate your design against the integrated BIM. Changes during the design process are inevitable. When the Revit model changes, we'll need to update the Inventor model to suit. Because the Revit model is referenced into your Inventor assembly without file translation, any changes to the Revit project will also update inside the Inventor assembly. A change to a design in Inventor is a change everywhere your design has been referenced, automatically updating all downstream uses of your design model, helping you coordinate your work and keep up with change. When your design is ready, you can output your model from Inventor as a BIM object, ready to submit, closing the loop on your design cycle. Autodesk Inventor 2021 extends MicroCAD functionality to help manufacturers in the construction industry collaborate and coordinate on BIM projects.
So we see that the Autodesk provides the workflows to exchange data amongst the partners on the project. But what makes it particularly useful now is that all of the product support and intelligent information is in the cloud infrastructure provided by Autodesk, the BIM360 platform. This is especially important since designers have been working from home. Revit users can design with their models in the cloud, securely sharing that data with whomever they wish. Inventor users can access the same data, incorporating it into their designs. On the BIM360 data platform, the software keeps track of versions of the design and controls access. All users can view, markup, create, or respond to issues, all without having either Inventor or Revit loaded on their computer. And the access is using any device, laptop, tablet, or even phone, wherever there is an internet connection. Single data platform for data, BIM360. World's top software tool for BIM, Revit. World-class mechanical design CAD/CAM tool, Inventor, all from Autodesk and MicroCAD. Before I catch up with the questions, let me mention that MicroCAD will be running more webinars about BIM and cloud services. So take this opportunity to tell us what topics you would be most interested in by entering it into the chat box. We really want to address your needs. Okay, on to the questions. First question is someone who says they're using AutoCAD now. So in the manufacturing world, AutoCAD is certainly used a lot, especially linking to your CAM processes. And if that's the case, you certainly can continue to link the CAD using AutoCAD to your CAM processing and your CNC equipment, but just use Inventor for the 3D modeling, and from Inventor you can output a design that is compatible with the AutoCAD process. So we aren't saying replace AutoCAD for everything. In time, you may find that's in your best interest, but right away you don't have to do a global replace. All you have to do is use Inventor for the link to the architects. And since the architects are working in 3D, that means that you can exchange information more securely, more intelligently, and more appropriately with the architects. So continue to use AutoCAD for the things that you're comfortable with. Use Inventor for the things that you need the integration and the collaboration for. Okay, so someone else is mentioning that they have worked on a BIM project and they saw that the Revit model is huge. And indeed, Revit models, like any BIM model, it has all the information about the project, and so it is huge. Revit works very nicely with that because it's a database system and it can optimize the interaction, but it is a big file. And as a building manufacturer, you don't want or need all of it. So the process that we're talking about here, the product manufacturer, when they access the Revit model, selects a particular view of that model and just brings in the things in that view. So all you need to do is coordinate with the architect and tell the architect, put that sunshade on one view, and then when I access the Revit model, I just pull in the sunshade because that's all I'm interested in. So you can, although there's a lot of data in the Revit model, you're only using the things that are relevant. And somebody asks how long it takes to get to learn Inventor. If you're using AutoCAD now, then typically we have a 3-day course that'll get you started on the basics. And after you've had practice for maybe a month, your productivity will reach the level you were with AutoCAD. And then from there, it'll go up because Inventor allows, because of the 3D modeling in Inventor, it allows you to be much more productive and you can automate a lot more of the steps. So there is a learning curve. You do have to get over it. There is some training, but once you're up and running, you'll see new levels of productivity above and beyond what you're doing in AutoCAD. And perhaps most importantly, you can do things in Inventor that you can't do in AutoCAD because Inventor is by nature a 3D modeling system. It is part and can work part in the BIM world, which is by nature 3D. AutoCAD just doesn't fit in the BIM world. All right, any more questions? So a manufacturer mentions that their design process and their manufacturing process they consider intellectual property, and they don't want to share that with the architect. And I certainly understand that. There's a lot of cases where your IP is the heart of your company, so you don't want to share that. In Inventor, what you can do is in Inventor, you've got all of the model. You can what we call shrink wrap, or basically simplify the model so that you only show the information that the architect needs. So if you design a brand new pump, for example, you don't have to give the architect the impeller. All you need to give them is the outside case general shape, the mounting bolts, where the inlet goes and where the outlet goes, the electrical connections, things like that. You don't have to give them any of the internals. So you can protect your IP from going to the architect by having a simplified model. And in Inventor, that simplified model is associative. So if you make a change to the model, your Inventor model, the simplified model changes also automatically. So it is a nice technique for, I don't want to say hiding, but perhaps suppressing certain information from your partners, because it is IP. All right, any more questions? All right, well, thank you for taking the time today to attend our webinar. I hope you found it useful. We'll be continuing this series of BIM webinars and adding new topics. Next week, we'll get into the technical details of the data exchange workflow we talked about today. This is really rolling our sleeves up and getting into the specific process. I'd like all of you who are interested to come and join us so you can see the technical details of how it works. It isn't magic, it's really easy once you understand the process. We will have additional webinars on the BIM360 platform. Keep watching www.microcad3d.com as we add more webinars to the series. If you want more information, feel free to contact me directly or any of the MicroCAD offices. We would love to talk with each of you and discuss how the tools we showed today could improve your productivity and smooth your workflows in the BIM project. Thank you again, and this ends the webinar.